So it looks like Killer Instinct is finally coming to Nintendo Switch, but it's the original version of the game. Something that a lot of people from back in the day who grew up in the '90s probably happy about. But at the same time, you look at the graphics. 30 years later, the graphics aren't too great, even though it's a fun and addictive game. Um, it's pretty cool that Killer Instinct's going to be playable on Switch Online. But the thing is, I feel like that might be like the only Killer Instinct game that we get for Switch Online because I don't know whether or not we're gonna get like any N64 games added to Switch Online. And the reason I say that is because Killer Instinct Gold was an N64 game which came out in '96. Graphically, it looked better, and it's one of the more underrated games of the N64 era. And 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 yeah, like between that game, the original Killer Instinct, and the game that came out in 2013, a lot of people will probably go on record and tell you that the 2013 game was better overall because it was most recent. It came out a decade ago. It created a lot of buzz when it came out. Killer Instinct Gold kind of fell out under the radar because during the time a lot of people were paying more attention to PlayStation consoles, similar to how they are right now. And the original Killer Instinct game, I feel, is one that it's going to be almost impossible to find that at a used game store nowadays. And if you do find it at a used game store, the price is going to be unusually high because having copies of the original SNES version of the game is very rare. But yeah, it's cool that this game is finally coming to Switch Online, and I guess it's about time that something special was done with Killer Instinct because this year marks the 30th anniversary from when the series started. Because the series started back in 1994, and the latest game that we got was within the series was it came out back in 2013, and that was an exclusive for the Xbox One. And even though it's an exclusive, it's quite possible that the Killer Instinct game from 2013 could eventually come to the Switch console because Microsoft has been open to doing business with both Sony and Nintendo in terms of like sharing their games. Um, Microsoft has already like committed to like a 10-year agreement to bringing more Call of Duty games to to Nintendo consoles in the future. And I think they've already brought some Xbox exclusive titles to the PlayStation 5. So it's quite possible that we can get, Killer Instinct 2013 on the Switch console. But it's unlikely because I think the Switch console is near the end of its life cycle. So if we don't get it for the Switch console, we could possibly get it for the Switch 2. But even then, it still kind of feels like a slim chance because I don't think there's as much interest in Killer Instinct nowadays as there was back in the day because the landscape of gaming is completely different. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But Killer Instinct coming to Nintendo Switch is a good thing, and hopefully it'll mean that the other Killer Instinct games eventually make its way to Switch or the Switch 2 console a little bit later down the line.